Positive t-shirt.
We all need a positive. We are live.
Good. Look at that. Look at that for a welcome. That's for everybody.
You totally something shed it. What does it? Because your name covers the other section.
Oh, you can't see it.
The name on your left.
There you go. There you go. How about that for a welcome? Look at these.
Good morning, everybody. Anybody that joins us and watches, we are live on the Marketing SOS page and the Kate Connor page, Kate Connor UK page, say my own name right, for day 3 of the interview a business owner, chat with the business owner, have a good chat in the morning sort of thing throughout June. So I am joined here with the lovely Katie Nuttall from Nimble Film Chick.
Hello.
So Katie, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and let's have a little chat. Tell us who you are, what you do.
Wow. I feel like the pressure's on now to get my elevator pitch perfect. My name is Katie Nuttall, and my business is Nimble Film Chick. I believe small businesses have big stories to tell too. Yay, there's the first child. And I believe in championing those stories by being inquisitive, imaginative, and creative in everything I do. I just happen to make great videos.
And how nice. And I remember when we met at the networking meeting I very rarely go to networking meetings. And when I do go, works really well.
Yeah.
Just getting my ass out the door and going to these things. That's my issue. When we met, I remember hearing you talk about what you do and feeling very kind of inspired and connected to it. When you talk about the stories that you want to help small businesses, or I think you do some stuff in the voluntary sector or charities, do you as well?
Yeah, I've done a little bit in that sector. I have kind of a love-hate relationship with social media, which sounds a bit ridiculous because I'm on it. I use it every day. It's a platform that we all use and enjoy, but it can be as beneficial as it can be destructive, I think, as well. And I feel like, I don't know, I don't want anybody to think I'm on a moral high ground about this, but there's a lot of noise out there. And I think every piece of content that's created, or certainly that I work on, I always try and encourage business owners to really consider what kind of value they're bringing to the table with it. Because if there's no value in there, then what's the point? And it sounds like ridiculous. Surely if somebody comes to me and says, I want a video, then I should just be thinking, great, that's money in the bank. But that's not how I roll. It needs to have a purpose, and it needs to bring something to the table that's going to leave your audience feeling better off one way or another. And it might just be that it makes people smile. That's a good enough reason. But if there's no real sort of purpose like that, or there's no value there, then I would question what the motivation is for actually investing any time and energy in making, video in my case, but really anything.
Yeah. So that's quite a respectable angle to take, which is important. But I guess, does that cause for some difficult or interesting or richer conversations, where you're given a brief, right? We've got a creative person, let's give them a brief, whether it's video or graphics or animation, whatever.
Yeah.
But I guess in your example, it's not just that the nature of that brief is so much richer. And how do you go about doing that? Because I guess the business owner sometimes doesn't know the answers to your questions, doesn't know what they're bringing to the table.
But I think you end up with a much happier customer at the end of the day if you have that conversation up front. Because if they've not thought about that, then they need to go away and think about it. So the beginning of every conversation starts with lots of questions, and sometimes that puts people off. Sometimes people just want to be able to say, make me this, and for that person to come back 2 days later and say, there you go. But that's, like I said, I don't approach things like that.
And I think that thinking is so important. There's a common theme here, isn't there? That those business owners have to put that thought in, have to spend the time, do those heavy thinking exercises into why the hell am I here? What do I want to get out of this? How do I want my audience to think and feel as a result of seeing this piece of communication?
Yeah.
And sometimes if they just want to sell bits, that's a hard thinking process for them to go through, but one they should.
Yeah, and actually there are great ways of selling bits successfully with a really interesting angle. I saw something the other day which was genius. You've probably seen it doing the rounds on social media. And it started out with a guy. In fact, you couldn't even see him. You could just see this pair of socks moving along the ground. You couldn't tell how they were moving, but you could see that there was a little piece of rope tied around the end of them. So whoever was wearing the socks was being dragged. And it was this whole, honestly, the amount of time and energy put into creating that as a concept. And it's about how annoying it is when your socks fall down. Basically, it's little ankle socks they are, and they're like the best ankle socks in the world. And now if I ever need any, I know exactly where I'm going to go to buy them, because it took a really, I mean, it is a problem, I suppose, for some people. You know, socks falling down is irritating, and these people have solved it, and they're communicating that in a really entertaining way and a memorable way. So there's ways and means of going about creating something that is going to sell your product, but it's going to do it in a way that shows people how it's going to make their lives better. Genuinely, you know, obviously if it's tat, you're going to struggle, but
it's harder.
Yeah, exactly. But with a good product, it's very easy to come up with a concept that's going to sell that, because it is going to make people's lives better one way or another.
Yeah. So what do you, because I listen to this, and I've had videos done before, but certainly in the mental health, working in mental health space, and I listen to this and go, right, I want a video, I want something creative, I want a way to execute my messages. So I'm saying, like, chomping at the bit now. What would you say to somebody who is thinking, well, video is really expensive, and I can just get someone to do my social media for me instead? You know, we've got a pot of money, and I'm going to get someone to post on Twitter every day for me, or, you know, run some Facebook ads. How do you feel that? What would you say to a business owner that's in that situation?
Money doesn't have to be a barrier for great video. We've all got very good cameras here.
Okay. Yeah.
And actually, with the right sort of support in coming up with that concept, it's very easy to go away and create something great yourself. You know, money doesn't have to be a barrier. And you'll find so many different people out there who offer good quality services at a range of prices. Somebody like myself who works here, this is my studio, my home is my office, as it is for you, Kate. You know, the overheads are low, so it suddenly becomes more cost effective. But then equally, if you've got more money to invest and you want a better quality finish, then that's where you start bringing in more crew. Because I always liken it to asking how much does it cost to get a new kitchen? Well, you can spend £500 and get a kitchen, or you can spend £500,000 if you really want to and get a kitchen. The difference is that finish, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there's always a way of creating something great, regardless of what your budget is, I believe.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think there were people that, you know, we're in a situation now where people have got a bit more time on their hands, give or take the children. But are looking for ways, you know, we're looking for ways to differentiate ourselves, for ways to stand out, for ways to engage our audience and build that relationship with them. So could you give the audience any tips on, you know, what they even need to think about in terms of video, or practical things they could do? But if they're thinking, actually, this might be of interest to me, there's something here I think I've got a little story I could tell, or I just want to explore it. Have you got any tips to help them?
Yeah. So the way I start every single project is, like I said earlier, with some questions, and it's, what do you want to say? It's the basics. It's, what do you want to say? If you can't explain that clearly, then you need to put a bit more thought around that. Keeping it simple is definitely the best approach.
And it's often so hard as well.
It's very hard, yeah. What do you want to say? Who do you want to say it to? And this comes down to knowing your audience, which you're obviously very familiar with, Kate. And there's where as well, because where you want to distribute it can have an impact on some of the technical decisions that you're going to make. But also, and just as important, is why you're doing it. What is the effect that you want it to have? You need to be really clear about those things. And then you can start thinking about how you're going to go about doing it. But I think don't be scared either. Like, don't be scared to just have a go. And actually, if you don't know where to start and you think I'm just not creative, I don't know, I can't come up with any ideas, then look around you. Go and do some searching on YouTube, do some searching, have a look at what your competitors are doing. That's a great way of seeing what works. You know, people are putting stuff out there all the time, and you can pick up a lot of information just from seeing what kind of response other people are getting from what they're creating.
And what sort of videos do you make for people? So, you know, is it talking to camera? You know, is it interviews? You know, headshots? Is it still images all put together? You know, what sort of stuff have you been doing?
Okay, so I went out filming for the first time on Sunday. 78 days in the house I spent. So it was very exciting to get out and film again, finally. See another room that wasn't my own, that didn't belong in my own house. So that was an interview. That's an interview-based video, and that is like a business introduction video, because it's very difficult to get a business's personality and a story across if there isn't a person there with the passion to describe it. So but not everybody feels comfortable with that. You know, there are alternatives, but I think the most effective way of sharing that story is by sitting down and delivering some answers to camera. And obviously we're going back at the weekend to film all the B-roll, all the lovely cutaway shots which bring that story to life. So I've been doing that. I also yesterday conducted some interviews via Zoom, some recorded Zoom interviews, and this is for something we're doing for Men's Health Week in a couple of weeks, and that's just like it's going to be like an interview montage of men obviously talking about health and well-being. So that's another one. But I've actually, throughout lockdown, I've been doing a lot of animation work as well. So there's a business I did some work for a couple of weeks ago who are rebranding and wanted like a really punchy, powerful, wham bam, thank you ma'am, like grab you by the balls thing for their Facebook header video. So I did that. I'm doing a bit of a montage of customer self-shot footage mixed with some motion graphics for a chap who's launching a new or soon to be launching a new cricket training product. And he wants to kind of create a video to generate some interest and also gauge numbers. So have people sort of register that they're interested in the product. So then he knows how many to manufacture and gets his price right.
So my brain is now going crazy with videos that I need. You see, it's turned into a need, not a want.
Yeah.
For several different pies I've got fingers in. Actually, I think the using a video on your Facebook header, when I see that, is always is another way of standing out. It's another thing you notice and you go, oh, that's interesting, as well as the content itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. I've been doing a lot of stuff. Actually, last week I launched something which I'm giving away for free to small businesses, because obviously they've been crippled. You know, if your revenue is contingent upon people coming into your store, then it's been a devastating time this last few months. Yeah. So I created a reopening video, which is basically to help sort of generate that interest again, and just for small businesses to help publicize the fact that they're opening again and they're opening safely, and here's the measures that they're putting into place. And the standard version is free to download. Take it, use it, share it with your customers. I had a lady from Dundee request it yesterday. Yeah, so it's getting out there. And then there's customization options as well, which are all really affordable.
Really good.
So that's, I'm excited about that one, because I feel like it's hopefully going to help make a big difference to a lot of businesses.
Yeah, and it's very, with my marketing, it's very relevant. It's very now. You're providing something that's free at first point, but has got affordable options surrounded it. Yeah. And demonstrates, as we say, with all lead magnets and all giveaways, things demonstrates your values, your brand, and your expertise at the outset. So, if a customer wanted to work with you, or is just at this point of going as a business owner, I want to explore this, how do they get in touch with you? What's the best thing for them to do?
Honestly, my favorite way is just to pick up the phone and have a chat. I love to have a chat. I know, and that's the thing. I think a lot of people are a bit scared about doing that, aren't they? I try, and if somebody sends me an email, I'll try and find their phone number and ring them back, because you get much more out of that person. I think you get more personality, you get a better understanding of whether you're going to work well together, because like that's important. But I mean, there's so many ways. Literally, I think, name your platform. I'm there. I'm quite active. Yeah, I share random stuff on Instagram, random stuff on Twitter. It tends to be just ridiculous things I'm thinking about. LinkedIn, I'm very active on, because I am a business to business. Business to business, B2B, yeah. And Facebook, I've got a little Facebook group that I'm growing for small business owners who are thinking about making video but don't really know where to go or what to do and want a bit of support. So yeah, that's there as well.
Can you share the link to your group?
Yeah.
Do you want to share the link to your group?
I can,
be in that group, because my mind wait a minute, there's comments. Sorry everybody. So morning. Sorry Danny. Sorry Karen. Hello. Danny says, where are you based, Katie? What areas do you cover?
Okay, so I'm based in Congleton in Cheshire, but lockdown has meant that really geography isn't an issue.
Yeah.
So, you can cover any area. And actually, my experience has taken me all over the world. I've filmed in Sydney, I've filmed in Hong Kong, Singapore, where else?
That's what I wanted.
South Africa, Cape Town, all of Scandinavia, most of Europe, America, like everywhere really. So, and that's beneficial, because I've got a massive black book full of connections in all these places. So, crew in every location really. Geography is not really an issue.
So what we're looking for is your ideal project that's maybe in Scandinavia somewhere beautiful. If anyone in the group or watching on replay can provide Katie with that sort of brief,
that'd be amazing.
Time on site with the crew is required. It's not an animation. We're not sitting. We need to be out filming.
Get out, yes, yeah. To be honest, that is a big part of the job that I really do love. Going on location, learning about, because there's so many different businesses out there that do so many different things. I mean, I spent a large portion of my early career filming in warehouses, which might sound like supply chains, barcode printers, software. Like, honestly, the amount of forklift trucks I've sat on the back of. But actually, like, every single one of them has a really interesting story. Like, every business has a really interesting story. And they deserve to be told. Well, let's do a project in Norway. Yeah, that'll do.
I mean, I don't know how I'm going to get in on this in any way, but I mean, yeah.
Do you know, actually, Kate, and that's where I think sometimes, and it's really disappointing when you are producing great content, if it's not marketed well, it becomes a pointless exercise. So the two do sit very nicely together and do have to work cohesively.
Yeah, it's for me, it's like any channel. You've got to have that purpose and that strategy and that audience, and understand what you're passionate about and your ability to articulate that and pull that through into a commercial product through specific channels. And video is an absolutely valid and engaging. You're coming as creative director. We don't know who you are, but I'm in. So I see video as one of those channels, and you've got to have the strategic bit, and you've got to have the strategy associated with distributing that video and getting it right. So it doesn't just turn into a thing that you've made that you spent little bit of money on one time and you sat there. Wasn't that a nice thing to do? Danny says, I'm a small business whose income has fallen off a cliff. Following Kate's lead monk training, I would like to create some videos. We'll get in touch. Yes, Danny. That's
yeah, I'll send you. Well, yeah, I'll add a link to the freebie, the free publicity video. That, like I say, I'm trying to. I keep talking about it. I think people are probably fed up with me, going on about it.
I've seen you talking about it, but let's get it in here as well.
Yeah.
And now my mind is thinking about a rejigged video for you in mind. and this sip and share gin blog stuff, which has obviously developed a commercial arm. Of course, it has pretty quickly.
Snap baskets.
Oh no, we've got a live bomb.
Can you do have snap baskets?
Yes, darling, I'll come and get you some snacks in a minute.
Oh, snacks.
Snack time, yeah. We have a snack rationing system because that first week of lockdown, every time you walked into the kitchen, our fridge is on the floor. There was a different bottom sticking out of the fridge, and there was like no food left by day 2. It's like, oh my God, children, stop eating everything. Yeah. So they have everything in a basket now, and they ration themselves throughout the day.
See, I did that for the first 2 weeks, and then it just kind of, the sun came out and it just got forgotten about. So that is coming back in. That is coming back in. Right, thank you so much for that, Katie. That was really super useful and interesting. And I know there's going to be lots. Mummy is coming. She is coming. I promise you.
This is a different one.
Where's Lily?
Where's Lily? I'm not sure, darling. We had face paint on yesterday. That's why it doesn't wash off very well.
I don't wash my children anyway. So.
No, every couple of days.
Week.
Yeah.
So please do, Katie, drop your links to in this thread in the SOS group.
Yeah.
And I'll put it on the UK page as well. To any freebies you've got, to the group thing sounds really interesting. We've got a project coming up in Norway. I'm creative director. You're director.
Yeah, let's make it happen.
Let's do it. Awesome 2020 project in Norway. Okay, so thank you so much.
That's all right. It was a pleasure.
Who's this? They get it. Somebody is talking about children getting dirty. We don't know who you are. Facebook.
All the time. Oh my God. Honestly, feral. They've gone feral. They really have.
Yeah. Right. I will see you again another day. Thank you so much. And tomorrow I'm having a live virtual facial with Karen, which somebody who suffers from hay fever, I can't wait to have no makeup on and be like, just unfortunately she's not here. I might have to get my nearly 8-year-old to do it somehow for me. So yeah.
Wow. That sounds really interesting.
9:30 tomorrow. Tune in for a facial.
I will. I'll be there.
Right. Thank you so much, Katie. I will speak to you very soon.
Okay. Thanks for having me. Bye.